Hi, Math Fails. Well, Lord Immolation is getting tired of this debate. Doesn't mean that the rest of us can't continue it, but I myself don't know what else I'm supposed to say. I understand that there's many people that are just talking about metaphysics as looking into the fundamental principles that we base all of our knowledge on, and I'm fine with that. See, I do that. And I just think that when people call that studying metaphysics, that's nonsense. Because if there's multiple metaphysics, how are we going to judge which one to believe? Well, we're told we can't. We just choose one. But I don't find that the case. I believe I can choose a Christian metaphysics, and I can apply it to the world and see, oh, it fails totally. I can apply a philosophical metaphysics and the law of identity and exclude basically the truisms of logic, and I can see, oh, that works much better. Does that mean that, oh, I found a No, it doesn't mean I found a metaphysics because it works better, but that's not the end of the question, right? I'm still going to question how applicable. Okay, A equals A is true in mathematics. I think it's pretty clear it works poorly in the real world. Einstein had a good quote about mathematics that I'm sure most of us are familiar with. And if something works well in mathematics, it's a tautology within the definitions given in mathematics, but you can't apply that to the world very well, then we judge that. We judge that based on the application. And I could still use A equals A when making a proof about infinite sums or something like that, and realizing that A has to be a value. It can't actually represent anything. It has to represent a number for that to be true within mathematics. In math, you can't set A equal to an apple. Okay. And I didn't point that out before in the videos where I've been mentioning that because other people aren't realizing that, right? They take the law of mathematics and the laws of mathematics, and they say it's a tautology, and so they're willing to accept that I can set A equal to an apple because that's what they're doing. In reality, you can't. A is a very specific thing if it's a mathematical variable, and no, it can't just be anything. Because A equals A is true, and A plus 1 equals A plus 1. So does apple plus 1 equal apple plus? I mean, it has no meaning in mathematics where that statement comes from. So if we're going to judge, these input principles, then we have to judge them some way. And I think we all know the only way to judge them is from the real world. And judging things with logic and things like this, that's all very good, but logic too is from the real world. First order logic is not sufficient to make all statements in English. All right, we know that because in first order logic you can't say there exists a concept such that the concept will help make a person better, because you can't variabilize over concepts in first order logic. You have to do that in second order logic. And Gödel proved that in second order logic there's statements that can be true that will never be provable, that can't be proven, and statements which are false, which can't be proven false. So I find that kind of interesting because natural language is at least a second order logic. And, just looking for the things that we all need. I mean, you need language to state an argument. As far as we know, everybody does. So is language a part of metaphysics? Where does language come from? See, I see everything as part of an evolutionary process and an embodied thinking machine, thinking organism, and it's all material. And it's evolved to this point. Every tool we've had has come out of this process, and there is no access to anything more pure than that. And it all strikes me as a kind of Platonic or Christian distaste for the world. That evolution and the world and love and hate and all the poetry is much too messy to be reasoning with. But if you are trying to reason about something besides all that messiness, then you're reasoning about something besides life as we know it. And I don't see the value in that. I see it as a huge distraction, especially dangerous distraction, because it is so attractive to intelligent people. And I have a fascination for errors that are attractive to intelligent people, because I believe that if intelligent people free themselves from some of these errors of dualism and metaphysics, they'll have better luck applying their intelligence to the real world. And that's where the intelligence is sort of needed, right? We have a lot of problems in the real world that need fixing. And belief in objective knowledge has been a problem in that real world. It is behind lots of violence, or if not behind, at least used to justify it. So I really don't understand why people want to have truths that can't be tested. Even if it was possible, it seems to me that they would be useless. By definition, right? Useless, because they bear no relation to the real world. But most people don't want to do that with metaphysics. They want to say it can't be tested in the real world, but it's still true in the real world, which is really sort of a sneaky trick, isn't it? Not very fair, actually. You want to tell me truths, not you, but any metaphysician wants to tell me truths, and at the same time, and they cannot be checked, but they're still true. They're absolutely true, and I proved they're true, but you can't check that. They might say, oh, you could check it in logic. Well, which one? Which logic? Lord Immolation is to the point of he can't even understand somebody as non-dualistic and materialist as me. He thinks I must not have been exposed to that. He can't even imagine that I might actually have this position and know the position I have and the ramifications of it. But I know them very well. I know them very, very well. And what can I say? I mean, you live in a material world. All you get is a stream of perceptions. I'm quite sure that the conclusions necessary from that will be drawn. But I don't know when.